Hi, this is Bernhard Riemann, and in this tutorial I will show you how to create cars for TORCS. To follow the tutorial you will require TORCS 1.3.4, a 3D modeling tool like AC3D, a graphics editing software like the GIMP, and the Stride utility. If you have downloaded TORCS from the TORCS site, the binary Windows version, then the Stripe utility is already included. Otherwise you have to get it from the source and to compile it. Okay, let's start. First I show you the version I use for documentation purposes and the settings. The only setting which I knowingly changed is the crease angle to 180 degrees. This makes the model rendering in AC3D appear close to the model rendering in TORCS. I will create in this tutorial a simple stock car with a wheelbase of 2.8 meters, and I start with the wheel housing. First I create two discs to build the wheel housing around it. The wheel diameter is around 0.7 meters, so I choose for the wheel housing a tad bigger. This is 0.75. Okay, this position fits, so let's create a copy and then we can start creating the wheel houses. I am done now with the hole, so I can start extruding the real shape around it. To create the geometry I will use the extrude tool here, and as you will see throughout the tutorial I will use this tool all the time. Because I started out with two discs, I have two objects and I merge this now to make it easier to work with for the moment. I triangulated as well the extruded surfaces and set the surface type to one-sided smooth, because this gives the best rendering in TORCS. As you will see, I will switch back to two-sided or flat shading to see things better here and then. Here I was not happy with the mesh, so I recreate it with the command create ordered surface. This is Ctrl-Shift-S. Why I am doing this? The thing is that all vertices should have a similar number of edges coming into it, because some algorithms take this into account. So I will save it the first time to disk, just in case I will do some stupid things. Okay, so I continue with the mesh. I want to delete the little triangle here, but it is not selectable because it is covered by the new surface, so I cut the new surface away temporarily, hide it, delete the old surface, and then merge the objects back again. To guide my modeling attempt of the side, I introduce here a simple line that I have an imagination how I want to look it like in the end. If you would do better planning than I, you could load a background image into the modeling tool such that you have a good guide. I recognize that I need additional vertices. For that I use the knife tool. With the knife tool you can define an object which cuts another object. So I define this quad here, which will cut then the car side. Okay, because I set the knife to cut away object, I have now two objects, so I merge them again and optimize the vertices to get rid of duplicated vertices. Here I select two vertices and use divide triangle edge to introduce a new vertex in the middle. Now I combine the geometry of the window into one surface, and after that I cut the hole into it. I am happy with the side now, so I start going into the third dimension. For that I select the border and move it toward the side a bit. This gives then the impression of a little rounding. Next I want to tilt the upper part. For that I select it and cut away a new object. Now I create a quad which will be used then as visual aid to align the vertices along it. Now I apply flatten surface to make sure that the vertices are on one plane. I switch the lighting to flat shading such that I can see small mistakes in the surface. As you see, we discovered the crack here in the front area. Okay, watched enough, let's fix it. Okay, I spotted another problem here in the rear. As you can see, there are some vertices shifted inside which shouldn't be. So let's fix this. Otherwise we have a crack in the rendering. Okay, now it seems okay. Now I continue with adding geometry. For that I merge the multiple objects back into one such that this works as easy as possible. As you can see from the weird lighting, there must be something wrong with the triangle here. Maybe there are multiple layers of geometry over each other. Let's see. Aha, okay. There's two big triangles, so I screwed it up during the meshing, so let's fix it. Okay, so far so good. Now I start to cut the model into objects. This helps later to identify parts because we will give them names. And it is as well required for lighting. If you cut a model into multiple objects, all edges between the objects will be rendered as sharp edges. There are other ways to achieve sharp edges, but this is the easiest one, I think. Now I start to cut out the windows. Windows are special because they are transparent or partly transparent, so the rendering engine must be informed about it. For that you have to name the object in a specific manner, and this is that the name must contain WI. The special thing about it is that when a transparent or partly transparent triangle is rendered, that the C buffer is set, and that no triangles which are behind are rendered again. So to enable us to see stuff which is physically located behind the window through the window, the stuff behind the window must be rendered first, and after that the window must be rendered, and the rendering engine must know about that. You have to apply these naming rules for all transparent or partly transparent parts you model in the car, for example for light coatings and such things. Okay, naming is done. As you can see, lighting is much nicer now of the objects. We have sharp edges and it looks much more pleasant than before. We have some problem behind the rear wheel. There is some dark spot. We will have a look at this later. But first now we will check the object. You have various tools here, but first I need to go to vertex mode. Surface mode. So you can check if there are non-planar surfaces or other weird things in the model. So you should check this here and then. Okay, now I will have a look into the glitch here behind the rear wheel. I have a surface which is in the wrong object here. So I will cut away object from it and then merge this object with the bottom where it belongs actually. Okay, to update the lighting, I select everything and flip the normals twice. If you do not this modeling tool here and then does not update the lighting, so the model might look worse than it actually is. The next step is to model the inside of the car. For that we need an inside surface for the roof, because we have one-sided surfaces you can just see from outside, so we make a copy of the roof and flip the normal and name it rooftop inside. So now I begin modeling the cockpit. Okay, so we are finally ready to cut out an object. As you recognized, I created the object on the car body object. Now I cut the cockpit as well into multiple objects. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the geometry of the car now. There is nothing left to do for this tutorial. So we can now adjust the width and mirror it such that we have a whole car. The position and width is fine now, so the next step is to mirror it along the z-axis and then to merge the vertices which are in the middle, because these are two parts, so we have always a pair of vertices, so we need to snap them together by distance and then to merge the objects to optimize vertices. The object centers are still on the side, so I center them now. Finally, we need to adjust the object center, otherwise the collision bounding box will not match the model in TORCS. For that we can hit this little button along the Move To field. Then we see the offset of the center. You can notice later to correct axis in the car and set it to 0 and move the model into the center. As last step, I want to show you the current model hierarchy, so you see the list of all parts we have created and get an idea. Here you can also find and switch on and off parts of the model. I hope you enjoyed this part of the tutorial. In the next part we will add a texture to the model. So, hope to see you then. Bye!